Welcome to the Overdose Talk Show, 11-15-2015. David Box and Andrea are joining me via Skype in Chicago. I'm, of course, here in my upstairs apartment above a pizza restaurant in New Orleans. Like, I don't know why I keep giving the cops clues where to find me. I'm just like, I just do it compulsively because I can't think of anything else to say. Guys, what's going on?
Oh, but that's not where you really are.
Right. This is a satirical broadcast.
Yeah.
Where anything might happen, and usually does.
And we're not anywhere. Andrea and myself. Nowhere to be found, are we?
All right, so Darcy might join us later. We got Matt Geer calling up. We got a couple other things to do. Let's do the news of the day. The biggest story, the attacks in Paris, which ISIS is taking credit for. Or no, now we just call them IS, right?
Yeah, I still call them ISIS because saying IS is so clunky.
It's kind of sentimental, too. It's
I actually saw them referred to as ISIL recently again, too.
Yeah, that's
I
that's
think
an
they're
old
all
one.
acceptable.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
All right.
Pretty soon you'll be able to call them David Box.
Let's shut up. Let's break this down for the nice people, Andrea. Just set it up. Let's run what we've got now because I kind of avoided it for like a day or two because it's so annoying, you know, trying to track down all the discrepancies in the media and the initial reporting and everything. I figured we'd just wait a couple days. So it lands at what, about 129 dead and
Yeah, right now it's officially 129 dead. Right around 100 are hospitalized in critical condition, and then 300 more are hospitalized in non-critical condition.
fuck, that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's a pretty elaborate hoax.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, they did a really good job this time.
They really upped their game from the, what was it, the Boston bombings?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is, of course, you got the hoax stuff going on immediately, but I think a lot of people are confused by the difference between a hoax and a false flag, which is, you know, a false flag incident could be just something that was committed by intelligence agencies to further a political cause, and it actually happened, you know. So if somebody says that this is a false flag, it doesn't mean that they don't believe that it happened at all, you know. And it doesn't even necessarily speak to any you know, projection on the level of involvement with the government. A false flag could just mean, hey, they had some. This was a conspiracy to further a, like I said, political agenda.
Right.
So I don't know. So there's that whole confusion going on. There's a lot of fucking morons on YouTube. I was watching this.
Yeah, well, that's not new.
Dude, I was watching this one guy, Colcasper UK, Cole Casper UK or whatever. This guy's the dumbest guy I've ever seen. He's putting up these videos of like, look at this. It's a side view of a paramedic helping a guy who was, you know, I guess hurt in one of these things, and he goes, "This is clearly photoshopped because nobody. It looks like he's wearing two white watches, one on either wrist, and nobody would ever do that. And so this is clearly."
Well, I'm sold.
But hold on. But his video is about how it's photoshopped because the wrists have the same watch, but it's a photo of a guy from the side, so it's an inner forearm and hand, the inside of a hand, and the outer forearm and hand. I'm like, that's not how a photograph works. It just doesn't capture reality in 3D in a certain radius. You can't just go in and turn arms around. And so
someone manipulated a 3D model of this man.
Yeah, and there's people like that immediately on YouTube going, "This is a hoax because this arm is photoshopped." And by the way, the devil is taking over, and everybody better get on the right side of this battle.
Yeah. Wow.
So,
Side of Jesus.
Yeah.
if you stay with the facts, like I checked out Jeff C. from Free Radio Revolution, and he had some interesting shit going on. One of which was the owners of that theater, the Bataclan, that was where most of the people were killed, right?
Yes. Yeah. About 100 or just over 100 were killed there.
And he was talking about how I guess there were Zionist sympathizing Jewish owners of that theater for around 40 years, and they happened to sell it 2 months ago, and the date of the sale was September 11th, just to be a little weird, Just throw that out there. There's a lot of
the spookiest day to do it.
There's a ton of the occult, like numerology and shit, that goes on with this event already on YouTube. I don't get into it too much. I would like to know what gematria is, because I don't understand that, and I see it constantly talked about. Do you know what I'm talking about?
What did you say?
It's like it's like gematria, like when they assign values to words and groups of letters and numbers and everything, and they'll be like, of course, this has a gematria value of 223, which, so does the Department of Defense and Masonic Lodge, and they'll just start like listing these things off. It's like, what is this guy doing? Like, what? But there's a lot of people doing that on YouTube, and I'd like to know more about where that comes from. I think it's a way of. Sorry, go ahead.
Have you heard of Secrets in Plain Sight?
Mm-mm.
That's a YouTube documentary that you could look up that goes into the architecture of a bunch of Masonic buildings and stuff like that, and how it's all related to numbers and what numbers mean. So maybe you can, draw some conclusions from the two.
Yeah, I know there's something in that stuff, but I think a lot of these guys run away with themselves of just going, like, making any kind of arbitrary connection to any other word they can that vaguely fits the the narrative that they're pushing. So,
well, that's kind of actually exactly what gematria is. It's just a system of finding numerical equivalents of letters, words, and phrases. And it originated with Hebrew text.
Oh, okay.
So
I knew it was some way of dissecting religious texts and stuff. But,
I think it's just kind of a broad term for assigning the values to certain.
All right, whatever. So there's a lot of that shit going on. But anyways, I guess they had talked to the media before about how they were the target of anti-Zionist groups because they did a lot of pro-Israel events at the Bataclan Theater. So, oh fuck, Andrea, I meant to ask you this, but if you could, kind of while we're talking, find out who they sold it to, just out of curiosity.
Okay.
So they sold it 2 months ago. And yeah, like I was saying, Jeff C pointed out some weird stuff, like they're now talking to some TV station. I think it just said Channel 2 or something like that, but didn't say from where. The guys that sold it, the guy Joel LeBeau or something, reported that he took a call from somebody at the theater during the shooting and heard gunshots. So he sold the place 2 months ago, and he's miles away somewhere. I forget. He moved to. He may have moved to Israel actually, but he moved to another country, I think. And now he's getting a phone call during the thing and hearing the gunshots. So that is strange. Maybe not. I don't know. But it all is sort of reminiscent of stuff we've seen with things that panned out to be false flags in the past.
Yeah, and that's not the only weird thing about this either. So there were attacks on multiple spots at the same time. Some people were shooters and some had bomb belts or suicide belts so that they could explode themselves.
Oh, I thought you were just talking about they had really cool belts.
They were like really bomb, yeah.
Mass belts.
And one of the places that they attacked was a soccer game where the president was.
Yeah, the Stade.
Amazingly,
there was an attack at the Stade. That's how they say it. But like, okay. I don't know. Like, I like when Americans act like they shouldn't just translate things so that it's it just sounds weird to hear people constantly saying the Stade de France.
Yeah, it always every time something happens in France, I feel like everyone sounds stupid when they're talking about it. Like with Charlie Hebdo, which is how you're actually supposed to say that, but everyone says Charlie Hebdo.
Charlie Hebdo.
Dude, New Orleans is a whole town of mispronunciations of French words.
Yeah, I remember that about some of the streets there. I would assume they were overpronounced, and you'd be like, "No, just read it phonetically."
Yeah, just
That's really how
literally
you do it here.
read it phonetically, and put like a weird, kind of shitty redneck accent on it, and that's how you read those street names. Carondelet.
Yeah, Carondelet. That's the one that really got me.
Yeah.
I was like, "No, you're making that up."
Looks like it should be like Carondelet, but no. So, anyways, yeah.
Okay. So, and there were gunmen who were bombers, and then there were just bombers. And the bombers at the soccer game inflicted very, very minimal damage, and the president got away totally unscathed. But then a little bit later, there was a bomber right near the soccer game, and he exploded and killed 4 people with him. And then they allegedly found one of his fingers and used that to identify him by pulling a fingerprint off of his exploded finger.
Was it still wrapped around his in perfect condition passport by any chance?
Yeah.
Dude, see, that's another thing. Now, I wasn't too into this until I heard about the passports. I wasn't too into looking at this as like a possible, I don't know, controlled event or something, some kind of false flag. So, but now again, what are they up to? 3 now?
No. Officially, they've only found 1 passport.
Oh, that's what I thought. I thought you told me 3 before the show. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, no. There has been reported that they found other ones, but the police have recently stated no. We only officially linked 1 passport
to Syria
to 1 suspect. They did find other passports, but they were for people that they didn't think were suspects.
And it was one of the suicide bombers, right?
Yes.
So
it was one of the suicide bombers that was found lying right near his corpse. And it was allegedly from Syria, but then they investigated it, and it was actually a forgery of a Syrian passport from Turkey.
Okay. And Turkey, I think, is how a lot, like, doesn't Syria have some deal where they can, or is it, no, am I thinking of Russia, where they can go to Turkey
I think that's Russia.
Without a passport or something and get one there, yeah?
Syrian refugees go to Greece. They're all filtered through Greece.
All right, anyways. This is, and the people that shot up the Charlie Hebdo building left their fucking wallet in the cab that they took to get away.
Yeah, 2 forms of photo ID.
The fucking
their social security cards.
9/11 hijackers conveniently tossed their passports up in the air out the window of the airplane before they hit the building. And yeah, so that they floated down nicely on top of the debris.
And they floated very, very slowly so that they would land on top of the pile of ash.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit sick of the passport gag, honestly. It's a little bit harder to swallow each time.
And it's, how is it possible that people believe that? Okay, first of all, who is going to take their passport with them on a mission where they know that they're going to die? What would be the purpose of that?
Right, and I mean, I honestly don't know.
A passport isn't even as hardy of or as durable of a ID as like a state issued ID or something that was one card that's laminated.
Yeah.
Like a passport is paper.
You wash your passport once, it's over.
Yeah.
It's never the same. I mean, it's okay, but it's like just a slow downhill progression from there. The corners start to go. You know how it is.
Yeah. Yeah. We've all been there.
So again, and then I saw people, this is my source here. I just saw some people I didn't know on Twitter saying that that French police sources, Paris police sources, were saying that the passport was confirmed fake or whatever. Do we know that for sure?
Yes.
So that's definitely true.
It's definitely a forgery from Turkey of a Syrian passport.
All right. So now we're looking at, they've already started bombing Syria.
Yeah, big time. France is going crazy. They're really pissed off.
Jeez.
So they are now bombing Syria. They claim to be just bombing areas that they know to be under ISIS control, but they're also not releasing very much information.
Well, that's what we do, right?
Just bomb ISIS?
We only bomb just terrorists, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
of
the
course.
whole thing. So if this was set up... Sorry, go ahead, David Box.
I was going to say, except for when we're bombing Doctors Without Borders.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna do a little bit on that tonight, too, right?
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
We also had who was it? The CIA director met with somebody in French intelligence this week?
Yeah, that was...
Or was it a little bit longer?
The CIA director, John O'Brennan. It was last week.
Okay.
Met with Bernard Bajolet, who is basically the head of the CIA for France, but they're not called the CIA. But nobody knows anything about that meeting specifically. This is only according to Laura Haim, as reported by MSNBC. So
to me, that's kind of funny that people are pointing to this as evidence that it's a false flag, because it's like, do you think some of the most powerful intelligence communities on the planet need to fly people around in plain sight to communicate with each other? You know, like, I don't know, maybe not if you don't want to leave a paper trail of any kind. Maybe, I guess that is a way to do things. But yeah, I think that the motive is there for shadowy powers behind these governments to set something like this up. I think the motive is there. I think they're slowly kind of working through Europe now, and building the anti-Muslim extremist sentiment. From what I've seen online, I don't really know anyone in Europe, but that's what it looks like, doesn't it?
it does, and there are a lot of different kind of more subtle reasons too that they might want to make this look like a Syrian attack. I mean, obviously the refugee situation, a lot of people feel like is out of control, and they're probably looking for a way to quash that.
Dude, I heard that the French and German governments did something to ban protest on that subject.
I actually don't know if that's true.
Dumb when I'm repeating it, but
yeah, it does, but also it doesn't.
I've seen more unbelievable things than that. What did I ask you to look up before? Did you find out who they sold the theater to?
No, I couldn't figure out who bought it.
Okay.
It just says they sold it after 40 years.
By the way, I just want to announce that we'll be changing our logo to the French flag, because that ought to help someone out somehow, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, the flag thing.
Yeah, we haven't talked about this.
Yes, we've talked about flags to the point I've been sick to my stomach.
Yeah, but it was the Facebook flag thing.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, well, I think we probably talked about the Facebook, whatever that thing was. Was it an
Gay
equal
flag?
sign, or was it a...
No, it was a rainbow.
My phone's ringing.
Yeah.
What was the equal sign?
That
that was
was,
Black Lives Matter or something.
No, that was also for gay rights, but that wasn't
Oh.
an app. I mean, Facebook now releases an app that filters your profile picture for you. The equal sign was just a bunch of people had the same idea to do the equal sign. But this French flag app was out within like 10, 12 hours of the attacks happening.
Yeah,
Because
it's just such a weird thing that happens that it's like I always get really disappointed when people so thoroughly take their cues from the media and respond so fucking, knee jerk and reflexively, and they and it's like, it's an easy point to make, but plenty of people have made it. Is, there was some attack in Beirut recently that was, about the same size or even a little worse, I think.
Yeah.
That nobody
Horrific carnage.
Nobody gave a fuck about. There's shit going, whatever. There's shit going on all the time, every day, everywhere. I don't see people jumping on anything that doesn't seem to be stimulated in a massive way by the media.
Right.
So.
And here's the other thing. If you point out that the United States does this type of thing constantly, and as terrorists in other countries, people won't listen to that either.
Well, and that's
you can't draw lines that way
that's
to
the
people.
thing. And you pointed out about the U.S. or anyone else, or you know what I mean, and stuff going on in Africa, wherever you want to go with this. What are you supposed to do? So like you could just pick certain ones out, or you could talk about all of them, and then no one will like you or want to talk to you anymore. That's the thing. If this is like all you post about and talk about is atrocities, people get really sick of that. So I don't know. It's a weird.
You get unfriended fast.
But definitely the thing of going like, and then I'm seeing all these memes posted and shit that's like, the world stood strong together, and like all these pictures of Capitol buildings and stuff with the French flag somehow, done on them in lights or whatever, and it's from countries all around the world, and I'm like, how does this? Are people that just dumb and emotional about it's like, why do you feel like this does something? What the fuck? How are you? and I know that you're getting some weird sense of pride from it. I know the whole thing of, hey, everybody, look at me for 2 minutes because I think it's bad when people die, and I'm announcing it here, like as though people have asked me to give a speech on it, and you know what I mean. Like, this didn't happen before social networking. You never just walked into rooms full of your friends and went, now I know I don't usually like to comment on things like this, but I just want to speak out on the atrocities committed against the French people this Friday the 13th. Like, no. This didn't used to happen. This is all wrong.
Nobody cares.
Yeah, and so it's just this phony, this kind of phony opportunity to grandstand against murder that everyone can feel good for a minute, and then you continue on to the next thing next week. But it's just really, it's fucking irritating.
Look at how close I am to this other country. I have their flag on my face.
And just, it wouldn't bother me if I just didn't know that most of these people have just an undue sense of like self-worth and accomplishment for doing that. That's what bothers me about it, because I know it makes them feel good about themselves to do it.
And am I supposed to feel like an asshole for not doing it?
No, I was thinking about like, and this is the other trick. And then it's supposed to make people like us do something else in response and go like, hey, here's my profile with all the flags that the U.S. is bombing. And then everyone's like, wow, what a smart point. And it's just like, it's all a bunch of bullshit. It's just meant to get us all fucking, from every angle. Then we're supposed to get all up in arms too. I was even thinking, like for 2 minutes, I was like thinking I should find some like anti-Illuminati flag and superimpose it over my picture. And I was like, what a fucking douchebag I am doing this.
I know. I have those feelings a lot. Like, no, I'm going to do the opposite. Oh,
I fell for it.
Yeah.
I fell for it. All right, so
I have not been paying any attention to any of that shit.
No, it's dumb. Whatever. That's the thing. You don't have to, it didn't happen before social networking.
I didn't
and stuff.
even know anything happened in Paris until I saw somebody's flag thing on Facebook, and then I was like, oh, was something Something happened in Paris?
Right, but nobody's mentioning it. Nobody's mentioning it in real life, where they might actually have to have some sort of like debate or conversation about it, and not be a fucking douchebag to each other in brief bursts. Like it doesn't happen in real life at all. You know, you're out. You don't even know about this stuff unless you watch TV or turn on your fucking computer. Life just is going along normally. Otherwise, if you're in, you know, your average job or whatever, but. Yeah, the stupid flags. Everybody standing strong with your flags. You're supporting the. No, you're not. You're fucking. You're just joining in some little fad for the week. How long will you leave that picture up?
Yeah, 3 days tops. I'll bet by tomorrow everybody's pictures will be back to normal. Do you think? I mean, how involved do you think a United States organization could have been with a false flag here? Because there is a reason to get us afraid of Syrians as well, if that's what they're trying to manufacture. Because let's see,
I know.
10,000 arrived.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, yeah, because I've seen the media already hyping now. It's like in perfect rhythm. It's like, and by the way, they're headed to your backyard.
Yeah.
Where are they going?
Your Muslim president is going to let them.
Right. Although let's not go back on the fact that we did prove one time that he was a secret Muslim on the show.
Right.
And that Michelle Obama was a man. We've had some good shows.
Yeah,
Michael Obama.
Right, yeah.
Thank you. Which she is.
Ew.
And the children aren't really theirs. Remind people that every once in a while.
All right, so what about the drills? Let's just address that really quick, because that's another weird thing that pops up a lot in false flags, is they just happen to be doing a drill about that kind of event on that day.
Yeah. It's perfect.
Yeah.
So
every single time.
Go ahead.
That was going on 9/11, and then the train bombings in England that followed shortly after that.
Mm-hmm.
And then even in Boston, every single time one of these events happens, it's during a training exercise.
Yeah, Sandy Hook had the same shit going on. Andrea, I cut you off, but before you were gonna say where the Syrian refugees are supposedly gonna end up in the U.S., weren't you?
Yeah. Well, our Muslim president has actually signed into a law into order that 100,000 Syrian refugees will be allowed to enter the country per year legally.
Our Muslim president.
And the first 10,000 have already arrived. Actually, last week, I think. And so the scare tactic of finding this passport of somebody who claims to be a Syrian refugee, who is then part of an extremist group, would be a really way to get people riled up here about the 100,000 of them that are coming in through the exact same screening processes.
Yeah, not to mention, sorry, but just that the overall bullshit level of this whole thing, that the U.S. and Russia had such a major part in building this whole fucking thing in the Middle East deliberately.
Yeah.
And I mean,
blatantly.
It's just a certain thing hits me, and I'm like, why even discuss the details anymore?
Who cares?
The whole thing, it's just like this thing is so out of control with fucked up bullshit that I can't process it sometimes. I'm sorry. It sounded like you had something good to say.
No, I was about done with that point.
All right. Hold on a minute. I think we got Matt Geer on the phone. Hello.
You do.
What's up, dude?
Yes. Hello.
Hello, Matt Geer.
How are you?
Hello.
Hey. What's happening?
How was your last art show?
I don't know if I'd call it a show. It was at a fucking brewery.
Oh, okay.
But it was a really good show. My friends played really well, and I sold some prints and stuff. It was okay. I got a thing on the 20th this month at the Bridgeport Arts Center. It is the cardboard art show. All inexpensive culture for everyone in Chicago. Come out, and nothing over $100, but everything's been painted on cardboard or made of corrugated cardboard. People get pretty creative.
All right. Yeah,
That was
everybody
pretty
go
good.
check out Matt Geer. Look him up, Google him, figure him out.
But I didn't call in to hype that shit, honestly.
No, of course not. Why would you to fucking 35
No.
people? So
Exactly.
the and the live listeners who can see how many people are on here, I'm not exaggerating about our live audience. I'm talking about the number of YouTube views this will probably get. It's very sad.
Well, I'm still meaning to listen to your last show where you guys satired Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me. I didn't listen to it yet, but I'm really looking forward to it. I love Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me.
It was not a satire. It was a butchering. We just played clips and just ruthlessly made fun of them.
Oh, I love that fucking show.
Yeah. No, it's not.
But I'm
very
sure
good.
I'll be amused.
You don't like it. You just think you do. Once you hear what we have to say about it, you'll
You're not
have a
gonna
new
like it
perspective.
anymore.
Yeah. So listen,
No, you're not going to like it anyway. Okay, well,
listen.
hey, my mind is open.
the Paris attacks. What's your what's your
yeah.
initial take?
Like today, like people were flipping out at me just because I was like, well, I mean, now we're going to get into another war. Like, I don't know if it's, like, I'm not in Paris. I don't know, like, that if it's real or not. It probably is, and I feel bad for anybody that was actually killed. I don't know why that happened, but it's totally going to be used as, like, now we've got to invade Syria, or now, I don't know, whatever they want to twist it into doing. You know what I mean? Somehow this is, if we needed more oil, this would be about oil again or something. But, now oil's kind of, like I'm sure you've noticed, gas has gotten pretty cheap lately.
Yeah, it sure has.
Yeah,
It's
right.
Nice.
That's strange,
I've been
right?
driving a lot. Yeah, no, I was looking into the numbers on heroin the other day in Afghanistan and a couple other countries, and it's pretty. We're gonna do a little thing on it. I'm not sure if we're gonna do it tonight. If Darcy gets here, she kind of did the bulk of the research on it, but it's pretty compelling when you hear the billions of dollars that the heroin sales increased there, because the Taliban was basically keeping all that shit in check, and there was an untapped, market of billions that was then created and controlled by the CIA after we invaded. So there's a couple other motives, and I think there's some precious metals that they use in cell phones and shit like that. There's a bunch of other stuff other than oil reasons to be over there and fucking control things. Not to mention,
I always say
not
it's
to
not
mention,
like people here are like growing poppies in their basement and making heroin. That shit is flown in, it's.
although
there's no like heroin factory in Chicago,
I think the majority of ours comes from Mexico, and the majority of the Afghanistan stuff goes to Russia. I think.
You probably
That
are
seems
right.
Yeah, that's what I think. But
That seems most efficient.
yeah, dude. So
Yeah,
I mean,
that sounds like it the most logical. Yeah, that's why I was like, you're probably right.
it seems like we're at the point, though, that it's logical to assume that an event this big probably has some involvement from intelligence agencies, and therefore is serving some government or political agenda, right? Does that just sound like too broad of an assumption?
Whether it is or isn't, it's certainly going to be used that way. Like that was my point earlier, like on fucking Fuckbook today, when people were flipping out at me. I was like, no, I think you're misinterpreting what I'm trying to, like, my point was not like, oh, this is like, it didn't happen or whatnot. It's just like, but whatever the truth of it is, it will be used against basically our freedoms and stuff, and it's going to drive us into another war. It's no good will come of this. People are not going to suddenly unite and, end terrorism. I don't know. I'm just leery of the whole thing.
Yeah, definitely. And it just goes to overall building the anti-Syrian sentiment, I guess.
Right.
And again, it's like anything else. We really have no, like, the American people and the Syrian people aren't going to war. It's the governments and elite people behind the scenes, again, that are just kind of operating this thing. It's like we really have no
people are people.
We have no reason to go over there and kill them, but it'll be sold to us somehow. That's my prediction.
They're working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Shut up.
Yeah,
David
that's
Box.
pretty. I mean, I don't know enough about it. Like, you know what I mean? If I lived in France, I'd probably have access to better news about it and would be able to suss through it better. But it's really hard to research anything, and our media is all lies. So it's like, I don't know. I just don't even know who to trust anymore.
Yeah, dude. You can, and then YouTube is just full of fucking schizophrenics. I don't know what the fuck is going on anymore.
Yeah.
I'm
Nobody can get to
bewildered.
the bottom of anything.
Yeah, the what else did we want to go over with Syria, Andrea? Or not, fucking Paris.
I think we hit
Anything?
everything.
Is that about all we
The
had?
drills. We never really got into the drills.
Oh, the
but,
drills.
I mean, they're fairly run of the mill.
What was going on that day?
Well, we've got Patrick Pelot.
Oh,
who
right.
was-
Sorry, yeah. He's that doctor.
Go ahead.
No, he's that doctor that was like a first responder at the Charlie Hebdo thing, and then also came in to treat people.
I heard him on NPR today.
Ah, really? Okay, so that's interesting because he's been accused of basically being a government shill for the media, you know, and so was the first one saying, well, it was really lucky we had these drills put together because we were able to respond really quick and save a lot of people and stuff. Like, wasn't that him, Andrea?
Yeah. They were like, oh, well, this was very fortunate timing for us. Let's see, we were prepared. What needs to be known is there was a mobilization of police forces, firemen, EMTs, associations who came, and we tried to save as many people as possible. Yeah. But they were planning even a multi-site attack exercise, not just like generic terrorist exercise. It was for multiple attacks at the same time.
Right.
Amazing.
Oh, hey,
What a
I wanted to
bizarre
say before I
coincidence.
forget, when you guys were talking about the passport that was found.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if you heard, if I was still on. Even
No,
if you
sorry.
hear me.
Go ahead.
The passport that was found, today I had a thought, like, we should all just make our clothes out of whatever that shit's made out of, and then we're all bomb-proof. Because, yeah, those things have an amazing ability to survive.
Yeah.
That's how we beat ISIS.
Dude, the passport gag. I'm sick of it.
It's a total gag at this point.
It really is.
A very good word for
It's
it.
just a fucking joke. Always finding passports and IDs from every fucking, attack. By the way, these certain things that get blown up huge in the media. Now, this is a very high death toll. So, that's, and it was particularly horrific, I guess, in the way that it took place.
And it's white people, so it's easy to identify with for the American audience.
But there's
They
weird,
look like
dude, there's weird little, and some, depending on the media agenda, some people might be terrorists, some people might be protesters, some people might be counterinsurgents, some people might be insurgents, some people might be freedom fighters. You know what I mean? Like, so there's all the kinds of shit going on all over the world all the time. You are so naive if you think that, when the media focuses on one thing obsessively for days and days and weeks, that it's because it's the most important thing going on somehow.
Well, it's because nothing else is happening. Don't worry about it. Go back to sleep.
Right.
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Andrea had a thing about all the things that happened the day everybody was arguing about the Red Cup.
Yeah.
Oh,
We'll
God.
get into that a little bit later, I think. But yeah, it's some scary stuff.
So Matt, I wanted
like-
you to call in for a specific reason, but I fucked something up and I don't have the audio that I need to do that. Can you come back next show?
Yeah, I Thursday.
Yeah, but I figured we'd have you on just for the, give you a little.
Because we
Whatever
missed
you've got
you.
planned. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can call back. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, dude. I just realized I can't
I'm
play.
keeping it real loose.
I can't play the audio that we need because it's on the same computer that you're on, and it won't let me do this two things at once. Or it'll just play out of the computer speakers, and we won't get
No
it
worries.
in the headphones and shit. So we'll have to talk to you again next show, but sorry for making you wait. Hey,
That's okay.
everybody go out and check out Matt Geer. Matt, where do they find you online? Just Facebook and stuff?
Well, of course, on Facebook, I have two pages. I got my public page and then my other public page of just my art. Look up Matt Geer Art. I don't know. If you just Google my name, I'm pretty much the only Matt Geer that comes up these days.
Okay.
And then I'm Velvet Sword at Tumblr.
Matt's a brilliant painter, visual artist in general.
I just made a really good plush stuffed animal the other day.
That's
I
nice,
saw
Matt.
that.
Yeah, what'd you think of that? He's
I
for
love
sale.
that. I'd like to order a few.
He's one of a kind.
Make
right.
more.
Get out of here, Matt. We'll talk to you later.
All right, later, kid.
All right, bye. That's my new. I have no tact with how timing of how to get out of conversations. It's either
Just go.
It's either totally perfect because the other person knows how to do it, or I just go, okay, I'm leaving now. Bye.
Rock on, Matt Geer. Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, I will. Bye-bye. Okay, we will. Bye-bye. That fucking guy. Jesus.
Okay, we will. Bye-bye.
And the only other thing about Paris that we haven't mentioned yet is that they are gun-free. They are an unarmed city.
Yeah, and that's the thing
How does that work?
What do you mean? You live in one.
Huh?
Well, what do you mean? How does it work?
Like nobody owns a gun at all?
I'm sure it's there's probably a few people, but it's probably somewhere like Chicago was for a long time and still is probably to a certain degree in New York and places where it's just really, really, really hard to get one legally. Illegally,
Yeah, and then when you have it,
no
you
problem.
can't carry it around.
Yeah. Way easier to get an illegal gun.
Yeah.
That's the
Well, that
that's
makes it fun.
the weird irony of it. You know. All right. Well,
Yeah.
if you think about it.
So France is now bombing, let's see, the ISIS stronghold of Raqqa, which they have already deployed 12 aircraft, including 10 fighter jets. 20 bombs were dropped, and all of their intended targets were completely destroyed. So I guess we'll see.
100% kill rate. Is
Yeah.
is Russia doing some shit now too?
Yeah, Russia is also doing some shit to Syria.
What kind of shit's Russia doing?
They are also airstriking different ISIS headquarters.
Is that like air guitaring? They got guys
Yeah.
running around with their arms out. Like,
Take that, ISIS!
we're airstriking.
Yeah. Let's see. They've been bombing Idlib region, the northwestern Idlib region, which they claim to be the location of an ISIS headquarters and ammo depot.
Blah.
Yeah. Russia has used more than 50 Air Force airplanes and helicopters.
Sweet.
There's some shit's going down over there.
But it was loud.
I don't know. I saw this article after I saw this one about France starting to bomb Syria. And I was just like, well, that's it. We're about to have it. It's going to happen.
What's happening?
What's
Yeah.
now?
World War III?
Andrea, is this World War III?
I'm going to go ahead and say that this is probably World War III.
Let the Jews...
What? Wait, I really want to hear that, but you cut out.
Oh, I said let the Jews have their war.
David Box, you're funny.
Oh, he loves the Jews.
You were mentioning Doctors Without Borders bombing, and I've seen, for whatever reason, I've never gotten around to knowing the facts on this. You want to run
God,
that down
terrific.
for people? And how did it relate
this
to what we
happened-
were even talking about?
Well, I forget why I interjected something about that earlier. But we were talking about the countries that the U.S. has bombed, and then I threw it in there for some reason.
All right. Well, anyways, you said you wanted to do that tonight because
as we all remember, Obama wanted to bomb Syria a few years ago after the Syrian president used chemical warfare on his own citizens. And then he was going to bomb the Syrian government, which would have aligned us with Al Qaeda, who was rebelling against the Syrian government at the time.
That guy's
And he
always
ended up not
up
doing
to
that.
something.
But he did, yeah, while we're on the subject, though, Obama did announce this past week, while everybody was talking about the Red Cup, that he was going to be putting boots on the ground in Syria and then would also be strengthening airstrike attacks against Syria as well.
Boots on the ground.
So we're invading that country. And
Cool
also,
way to say that.
boots on the ground.
That's but
I don't like that saying.
No, because it's just so you don't have to say invade. That's
Well,
the-
it's also so you don't have to say like we're putting human beings there, like
Right.
boots on the ground. It's like, oh, robot soldiers. are
I've
going
decided
there.
to send people to kill other people.
Yeah, you can't really say that.
That would
didn't-
go
So
over
they
as well.
say boots
That
on the
was-
ground. And
It's amazing what simple fucking creatures we are at the end of the day, how little fucking language tricks like that actually do have that effect of distancing people from the actual concept of what's going on, It's just amazing to me that works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But most people don't ever take the time to even think about it. They just let it happen to them.
I know, we're so smart.
We're smart.
Did you
I love us.
But do you think if he actually had to really say what was going on every time they did something, we're sending fucking, I don't know, 3,000 guys in with giant rifles to shoot bullets into other people. Wouldn't fucking work.
USA. I'd vote for him.
That would work for some people.
Yeah.
Actually, it might work.
Definitely
It would
some
work
people.
better than boots on the ground for certain people.
Yeah. It's not neutral enough, though. So,
It's a job opportunity for some people.
so beyond the invasion of Syria, we have also in October, the beginning of October, we bombed a Doctors Without Borders hospital in
Why,
Afghanistan.
Andrea?
Well, that's a very good question. First of all, the United States said that they didn't know that it was a Doctors Without Borders. Oh, no, first they said they didn't do it. And then they said, oh, well, we didn't mean to do it. We didn't realize you guys were Doctors Without Borders, which was also a lie because they had received the specific coordinates of that hospital several times over the past several months. And then they were like, oh, we just we had a report that there was terrorists in there. So we had intelligence that told us to bomb this area. But the weirdest thing about that is that they didn't bomb any of the administration buildings. It was like a big multi-building compound. The only building that got hit by bombs was the building that had patients and surgeons and doctors in it. So, like, none of the office buildings or anything got taken out. And none of the places, it was like intensive care patients, people preparing for surgery, in surgery, recovering from surgery. It was like all the really serious cases.
Yeah.
And then,
And it got fucking lit up.
yes, so as if that's not bad enough, a month later, after an internal investigation of what happened, they released the information that based on eyewitness reports, as people were running from the building while it was being bombed, there were people in airplanes and helicopters shooting at them with guns as they were running from the burning building.
Boy, talk about a rough day.
And those
I
were
don't know what that
Americans.
was. I'm sorry. I was
That
paying
was-
attention to something else.
That was an American military attack on that place, and it has not been talked about
We
at
always
all.
do stuff like that. Remember,
I think
Clinton killed like fucking 300 people, by authorizing a bomb on a fucking what turned out to be an aspirin factory, where they said they thought they were making weapons. You remember that, right?
Yeah, I do remember that.
What would that have even
But
been back
it's,
then? Iraq, I think, maybe. Yeah.
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 I don't know. They all blend together.
Yeah, it's just been our entire life has honestly just been one, bombing one Middle Eastern country after another and just kind of switching back and forth.
Yeah, for all made up reasons, and then denying that we're actually in war until we move on to the next country, and then we're officially in a war with the previous country. Have you noticed that?
We should just fight Mexico. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it's coming. It's going to have to, right?
I'd fight in a war against Mexico.
I don't know.
You're right there.
The governments, I think, at this point have too much of a codependent relationship.
Let's do this thing that we forgot to do, which was the guy that got saved by his cell phone.
Oh, yeah.
Who said if he didn't have his phone, he was holding it, I guess, by his face, and a piece of shrapnel from one of these bombs in Paris hit it and destroyed it.
A man who survived an explosion near the Stade de France just north of Paris on Friday night said his cell phone saved his life.
Did you want to say something, Mr. Box?
No, you can play the audio clip. I'll save it.
Oh.
By blocking flying debris. Sylvestre, who was walking near the Stade de France, said he had just hung up the phone when he heard an explosion. Boom! It exploded right in front of me. Everything was blown to bits, and I felt stuff flying around, and I left. I fell, and then I got back up. And that's when you guys saw me. You were already there. So this is the cell phone that took the hit. It's what saved me.
So, a couple things that people have been pointing out there. Andrew, forgot to pay attention. Where did he say he was at?
I don't remember exactly what he said.
He was right outside the concert.
I think he was at the concert. Yeah,
he's at the concert. Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure that. I wasn't
sure if it was the concert or the game.
Yeah, a lot of people have been pointing out this guy is a crisis actor. This story is unbelievable, and I understand kind of on the face why you might say that. And they're saying, and he also says the media was already there when it happened. But I'm pretty sure there was a whole bunch of shooting first, and then they blew themselves up, right?
At the concert?
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you sure?
At the soccer game, they just walked right in and blew themselves up.
Right, I know, but I'm just saying that would be a reason to explain why there might have been some media there already, because people are saying, well, why was the media there if the bomb just went off?
Yeah.
Because I think
the shooting went on for a full 10 minutes.
Right. So,
that's plenty of time for someone to get over there.
Right, especially in a major city where it's totally plausible that there's news crews out already doing stuff, I mean, and somebody sees on Twitter, holy fuck, this is going on. Shit, let's get over there. We're fucking vultures, right? Let's get some fucking footage.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I don't know. This doesn't necessarily have to be a fake fucking crisis actor, as people are saying. It's so obvious. If you can't see this stuff by now, you just don't know. And he has blood on his shirt, but no rip in his shirt. I don't know.
There was a rip in his shirt.
Yeah, that news clip showed a rip in his shirt.
Who was walking near the Stade de France said he had just hung up the phone when he heard an explosion.
Yeah, there might actually be a little rip there. So whatever, dude. As usual, it's people just kind of trying to force this to be a fake event.
Yeah, or cast a wide net so that they're the first to break it.
Just say that everything's fake, so then when something turns out to be fake, they look like a genius.
Right.
That is the prediction strategy of Alex Jones for years, has just cast a wide general, there will be terror attacks this year in the US or Europe. It's okay, well, good bet there.
Someone will die.
I mean, he has predicted some of the mass shooters the same way any profiler could. I predict the Department of Defense has for years been developing, young men that when they're reaching the age of 20 to 21 are going to become mass shooters, and this is definitely happening. Watch for young white males in their early 20s to be blamed for mass shootings. Well, that's who does it? So whatever. A lot of people do that, I guess. Then play the clips later. I was right. Look.
Yeah, look at me. I knew it all along.
To me, that's not as impressive as my prediction. I fucking nailed the shark attack thing. And I said there would be increased attacks off the coast of the Carolinas. And there were.
There were. You didn't even hesitate when you made that prediction.
We used to do sharks. We used to do shark news every show.
Yeah.
Stupid thing. God.
I kind of miss it.
Oh, that was awful, though, how we used to just stick to certain segments every show. Everybody would be bored. Like, no, we got to do UFOs. All right, so here's a UFO that we're looking at. Looks pretty good. Pretty clear.
Yeah, I guess that could be real.
It could be.
David Box?
Nah, it's fake.
Oh.
All right. Well, our expert says it's fake.
David Box is the shit. He's so sexy.
That's plenty.
Do people out there know that... have we talked about this enough lately? That me and David Box made a movie called Party Horn? Let's just leave it at that. You guys can look it up for yourself. Yeah.
Party Horn. Coming soon.
So, I'm going to take a quick break.
Okay.
Darcy went down the street to get cigarettes, and she'll probably be joining us.
Lovely.
So, the Overdose Talk Show will return in a few short minutes. Thanks for checking us out. Hang out. We got a lot more to do.
That's all I know.
Yeah, let's just come back. Let's do it. We're back.
We came back.
Hi.
It feels good.
I'm going to edit that so that mistake is gone. Oh, now I'll have to take that out too.
All right, we're back starting now. We're back.
Now no one will know about that mistake.
Yes.
Dude, I forgot to... Hold on. I forgot to tell you guys. I don't think I've told you because I wanted to do it on the show and then I always forget. I live in a house now where someone killed himself.
What?
Oh.
Yeah. And it was great because...
Lucky.
I know. And we didn't really know about it before we moved in, or somebody had mentioned it. We're like, dude, we need a place. I don't care, you know. And then we got into the story afterwards, and there's this dude named Brandon who is kind of just like the neighborhood crackhead sort of guy, but he's cool, kind of everybody likes him, you know what I mean? And I'm walking down the street with him, and he's been in this neighborhood forever. And I'm like, hey, what happened with this guy? Because we couldn't find anything online or anything. Like, what happened with this guy that supposedly killed himself up there? He's like, oh, yeah, Jimmy. Like, Jimmy's cool. Like, because everybody thinks he still is a ghost around here. And there's like a shitload of... Well, we could talk about it because there's some weird stuff that happens around here. A bunch of people... there's like a swinging door in the bar that a bunch of people saw, like an invisible person just threw it open and it swung back and forth all crazy fast on its own the other night.
That's awesome.
Shit like that happens all the time. But, all right, so whatever. So he goes, yep, and he looks up at our apartment. You know, it's on the second floor. He goes, he killed himself in that room right there. And I was like, that's where we sleep. That's our bedroom. And so I literally have been sleeping in a room where somebody killed himself. And the rumor is that he hung himself. We can't seem to fucking verify it.
That is spooky.
Yeah, but it's kind of not, because we just didn't care or really know about it at first. And everything seemed fine. And now it still seems fine. Except for... This is true, all right? I'm sitting out on the porch the other day, like a back patio on the roof kind of thing. And this fucking, like, this blue tub that weighs like a good, I don't know, half pound or a pound, this little, like, plastic tub thing, just came flying off of where it was sitting. And there's a bunch of, like, old restaurant equipment. It was just sitting on this fucking old fryer or something. And it just came flying off there. and landed by my feet, like face up, like standing on its, upright. And
Nuh-uh.
and I was looking at it, and then I started to take notes. I'm like, all right, there's no wind. There's not like a train fucking going by 10 feet away. There's I'm like thinking about all this stuff, and then I set it back up and was trying to recreate it even just by like hitting it, and I couldn't really do it unless I hit it pretty hard. And even then I could never get it to land upright. So that was very fucking strange. There's been a bunch of times that Darcy, myself, and a couple other people have seen what we thought was people walking past the window on the door to the patio. It's just, I don't know, it's just a bunch of kind of creepy shit. And everybody who works in the bar, it's one of those places that they're like, oh yeah, we know about Jimmy. Like, I had this happen one night after I closed, and everybody's got their fucking story here,
How long ago was the suicide?
I think it was in the 80s.
Oh, okay. I was not sure if he was perhaps the last resident.
No.
Or you guys? No, nothing like that.
No,
Okay.
there's been a shitload of people here. But that's how the stories have.
Well,
taken
isn't
off.
all of New Orleans haunted? Isn't that kind of a thing down there?
That's kind of the thing, yeah. I don't know.
Voodoo and ghosts and...
It's just weird to be sleeping in the room and be like...
Yeah.
Thinking like, Jesus, there was a body, because there is like a big rafter that runs along, and like you could, I don't know, you could bolt something in there and hang yourself.
I wouldn't like that. I wouldn't like to live in that room.
Yeah, dude, it's weird, like laying in bed late at night and just picturing like a body swinging back and forth. Like, that's what happened here. Definitely.
Does it get you going?
It's kind of fun. It's all right.
Yeah. It's a good thrill.
It's okay. It's not like, it's not like Coke. I'd really like to get some Coke. But Coke's fucking expensive here.
But I had to settle for this suicide
So
apartment.
I had to move into an apartment where somebody committed suicide. Just to get a little rush once in a while.
We all make our sacrifices.
Yeah.
Well, Dave was hanging out with his nephew the other day. How old is he?
He's 8.
8. And hey. And his 8-year-old nephew starts talking about the Illuminati.
Yeah. I guess there's some kids at school and him that are all talking about the Illuminati together and looking at YouTube videos and stuff.
Dude, that's awesome.
He's 8 years old.
That's cool as hell.
He started talking. He started the conversation. He was like, "Do you know who the Watchers are?" And I was like, "The Watchmen." And he goes, "No, that's something else. I'm talking about the Illuminati." And I was like, "What do you think the Illuminati is?" And then he goes, "You tell me what you think they are." And I was just like, "All right, well, they're a secret group that are essentially trying to take over the world. How's that?" And he was like, "Yeah, I saw one at my school. It's 12 feet tall." And so he's 8, and I gather that he was talking about a statue or like a painting on a wall or something that was 12 feet tall. And he's like talking about triangles, and he wanted to talk about the back of a dollar bill and stuff like that. And I was like, shit, how far do I go with this kid?
As far as he can handle. Are you kidding? That's awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it? But also, wait, didn't he also blatantly say that they're aliens?
Yeah, he did. He said that they're aliens.
Yeah.
And,
Fuck, we should listen to him.
Yeah.
Can we get him on the show if we promise not to swear?
Maybe.
If we promise not to tell your sister.
Yeah. I don't know what his mom would be like, but maybe that's a thing. I'll see what maybe.
Is his mom...
It's way past his bedtime.
Does his mom dabble in the same subject matter?
No. She seems to be like Jesus. She likes Jesus and stuff.
Well, so do a lot of the Illuminati people.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Are you kidding?
Oh, you mean the Illuminati, like the people who are on to the Illuminati?
Right. The anti-Illuminati crowd.
No, but like she's not really into that whole thing. She's like very traditional.
Okay.
For the most part.
Well, then you should get him just fucking as revved up as possible and just make her
That's
life
what I was
just
saying.
make her life miserable.
Yeah.
I was like, you should have asked him a bunch of questions and told him that he needs to find the answers for you so that you could know.
Yeah.
And you need to get him to convince her that they need a fluoride filter in the house.
Yeah. Yeah. I asked him what he thought about 9/11, and he was not sure what it was. But as soon as I said September 11th, he was like, "Oh yeah, the two towers," and I was like, "Yeah."
Wow.
And
It's so
I didn't-
it's like such a dumb, simple thing, but why is it so bewildering when someone is a lot younger than you? You're just like, what?
yeah,
Man, that's crazy.
Wow, you were born late.
yeah,
It's like when I was 8, I knew all about the Cold War. The fuck?
yeah.
When I was 8, I was 9.
Yeah, I told him that we would talk more about stuff. I didn't really
Dude,
tell him to go do research or anything, but he's already going to do it. He's a nerd about it already.
Yeah, my view on stuff like this is like people, like you said, like how deep should you go into it? Well, if what you're saying is based in truth, or you're honest about the things that you're not sure of, and you're saying, well, this is what I've heard, and here's what makes sense to me, and a lot of the way that we talk on the show, really, I think without all the fucks, cunts, and rape jokes, this would probably be a good show for him. But it's
We
Yeah,
do a
probably.
lot of rape jokes, don't
When
we?
we edit that out, the show's only like 14 minutes long. So,
and it's just partial sentences. Just,
yeah.
But no, this has been a question I've seen a few other, in a few other ways. Like, how much should I explain to my kid about like U.S. history, the truth of it, or how much should we talk about, I don't know, whatever serious topics that you think might disillusion them with
How
kind of
old should a child? How
Hello?
old should a child be when you tell them who Christopher Columbus is? Hello?
Dude, okay, yeah. We might be on a huge delay. Just to check, I'm going to say, Andrea, I'm going to count to 3 in rhythm and then say Kablawi. And you say Kablawi right on time with me. 1, 2, 3, Kablawi.
Kablawi.
Okay, yeah, we're definitely on a delay. You guys are behind by like 3 seconds, but that's fine. Whatever. I remember at a time.
Here, you want to just? Should we?
Oh, this sucks. Yeah, you guys go ahead.
Let's hang up and call back.
Yeah.
Hang up and call back, and I'll handle
We're
this
gonna hang up and call back.
with a little anecdote having to do with this topic. Because when I was 19, 20-ish or whatever, I had started researching Christopher Columbus, and this was a little bit before the whole Facebook and MySpace and all that kind of shit. And so people weren't really sharing this stuff, and there wasn't kind of this whole consolidated movement to get truth out there and all this kind of stuff going on. So I was at a little get-together at my aunt's house, and my mom and my aunt got extremely mad that I was trying to tell our younger cousins, hey, Christopher Columbus was actually a pretty fucking horrible guy. He was famous because he was brave and ruthless, but he was a slave trader and this and that. And I'm telling them all this stuff, and they got furious. They're like, kids need heroes. You can't you can't tell them that someone that school tells them is good is bad. Then they might not be completely confused when they get out in the real world. Like me, who had to start learning history when I was like 18, 19, because everything I learned in school was fucking garbage, obviously. So
Right.
that was what, let's see, I don't know, this is 10, 12 years ago. And I'll never forget that weird conversation of, you can't tell my kids the truth about a historical figure. You can't do that. That's not good for them. They need to believe that people were heroes who weren't, and people were magical fucking superheroes. They have to. You don't start really thinking of Thomas Jefferson in a different light until you're older and you look at like the differences in the things he wrote and the way that he actually lived.
Right. Yeah. I mean, history, everything that you learn in school is like that. And I always go back to Christopher Columbus as the best example of what is wrong with what we're teaching. Because when do we start demanding that Christopher Columbus isn't the founder of America anymore?
I think
Because
that's pretty
we all know-
that's pretty well out there at this point.
Right,
Yeah.
but we still learned that when we were kids in grade school. They still learned that in grade school.
Yeah, dude. And not
So
to mention,
when do we say? Then if my child comes home and says, "Oh, I've got this test on Christopher Columbus, and I have to talk about how he found America," and I tell him the truth about it, then what happens when he goes back to school? And how old does a child have to be before they can differentiate between school and the real world? And then why are they in school?
yeah, why are your stupid kids at school?
And you have to, then you're the crazy parent that shows up and yanks the kid out of school, and you're like, the truth is gonna get out there.
Yeah, and then you buy an RV.
And they're
And
so
all the other kids' parents don't let their kids go to your house anymore.
Your
Right.
RV. You sell the house.
Yeah.
they're so fucking
Yep.
embarrassed. Like, it's just my dad. He hates the banks or something. I don't know. Like,
It doesn't make any sense.
I'll see you guys
There's
later.
lizard feet.
Like, I'll meet up with you for the polo game. That's what kids do.
Yeah. But yeah, Christopher Columbus is always, I think, the best. It most exemplifies all the problems with what we're teaching.
Right. That's why, and that happened to me personally. It's so funny to think about that, like, such a short time ago, that was a thing that you couldn't bring up in polite conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And it started like a big fucking
So
fight.
now with the way things are changing and the way information is so readily available and the way an 8-year-old can go on YouTube and watch videos about the Illuminati,
Just like me.
when does it become appropriate to start talking to them about those things? I wish that somebody had corrected me when I was younger about who Christopher Columbus really was.
Yeah, you know what's funny? Like, for the time, our parents were relatively savvy and, less trusting of structure and the public school system and government and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they still were generally naive about really how bad of a fucking education we were getting and how we were being, basically trained to be fucking prisoners at this place, And I still remember them even saying once in a while stuff like, well, you have to respect your teacher or something. Like, what? Why? And they were like the coolest ones around.
Yeah.
It was just a
Our
different
parents.
time. People didn't understand. They didn't get it yet.
Yeah, and I mean, when it comes down to it, we all learned how to do math, and we can read and write very well, and we did get the
Yeah, kind
regular
of.
stuff.
Except I forgot how to do long division. I can't even remember how to set. I was trying the other day, and I can't even remember how to set the problem up. I was like, what
Really?
goes where? Does this go in the bottom? What's the thing I divide into? And then how does it work?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh brother. Well, you used to know how to do that stuff, though.
Sure did.
You could
And-
Google it, and I'm sure you'd get it really fast.
And our parents were
Thanks, David Box.
not able to homeschool us even if they wanted to because they both had to work in order to afford where we lived.
And
But
all
they
the and the alcohol and weed. Don't forget that.
Well, yeah, of course. Well, that's included in where we live. But they did always encourage us to think for ourselves. For instance, I was never even baptized. You and Katie, our other sister, were both baptized. I was not.
I know, and we used to tease you when you were a little kid that you were going to go to hell.
Yeah.
That was our brand of teasing. You're
Yeah.
going to rot in hell forever. Do you know how
I
long?
remember.
And we would ask you, like, do you even understand how long eternity is, you idiot?
I remember that. I remember when you explained to me how to comprehend eternity, and you said it's not just until you die again; it's actually forever.
And then that's how long you're going to be in hell, Andrea. And she would cry.
I remember it. I was probably 6.
And we didn't even believe it. We'd never been to church in our lives. We just did that.
Yeah.
I don't know why we needed to break your spirit.
We only knew about hell from seeing it in cartoons.
Yeah, basically. And it didn't even look that bad.
No. You could eat donuts and...
You fucking stabbed with a trident here and there. But other than that, yeah, it's just whatever. It's hanging out. It's kind of hot.
So even though we did go through the public school system, at least we always learned to think on our own brains.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm obviously very good at that.
We can all stand on our own thoughts.
Yeah. Our own 2 thoughts. Stand on our own 2 cents.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We're really getting somewhere with this.
You guys are good.
Thanks, David Box.
I like it.
Thanks. Andrew, what the fuck are we talking about?
I can't.
The school system.
Oh, yeah.
And then we were talking about like when you talk to kids about the truth that the school does not teach them.
That's right. This is what happens when I don't have a topic written down in my notebook because I can't because I just looked at my notebook and it was a bunch of things about Paris and I panicked and almost just started saying them again.
Paris.
The Bataclan. Kind of sounds like
one of the,
Vatican, I guess.
One of the things that, I mean, outside of 9/11, one of the things that really caused me to become most disillusioned was probably Sandy Hook. And I remember sitting in the cafeteria of the hospital while someone was having surgery on my cell phone with you, Vinny, and you were just like listing everything about Sandy Hook and what was wrong with it and why it was so obviously.
Dude, do you remember how obsessed with that? Like me and
encyclopedic.
Yeah, me and the original host of this show, the Earthling, we probably spent 300 or 400 collective hours between us researching that shit and just talking to each other about it. And like I could, yeah, I mean, I still know a lot of it. It's amazing. Once you get going on it again, how you can kind of like draw all this shit back up. But dude, I knew the history of that town back to the 1600s. I knew where everybody lived and what they did and fucking, yeah, I was a creep about that.
Yeah, you were like a human manifesto.
Yeah. I could have given like a 2-hour fucking lecture on that shit at the time.
But that was very changing for me. It was very eye-opening for me because I had never considered that to have been fake.
And imagine kids, because there's plenty of them out there who are taught from a young age, well, our government's been taken over by by dark forces and banking structures and corporations that are, and we basically aren't represented anymore, and they commit these false flag attacks to control everyone's feelings about going to war and blah blah blah, and they're taught all this from a young age. Imagine how much fucking cooler and smarter than us they're going to be by the time they're in their 20s and 30s and they realize what was wrong with what their parents did. It's going to be awesome. But
yeah.
I think you start from
will we last that
you just
long?
Teach kids that view of the world, and you don't force anything on anyone. That sounds like indoctrination of some other kind, but no, you teach kids this is the truth. And if they're in public school because you absolutely can't afford to do some kind of homeschooling or whatever, then you have to teach them that their school is bullshit. I don't see any way around it at this point.
Yeah. But then like that's where I get kind of hung up, because if you have to teach them that their school is bullshit, then why are you even bothering to put them in that school?
Free babysitting? That's why.
Yeah.
That's how the whole thing works.
socializing them.
Yeah, getting some good prison etiquette, you know. I don't, you know, this knowing people and socializing thing is one thing, but I think there's probably better ways to do it.
Yeah.
You know, at this point, than all just shuffling back and forth on those fucking horrible tiles. You remember what it was like to walk down those like tile hallways with the fluorescent lights, reflecting off of them, and it would just do that thing and blow your eyes out, all weird. And there was just, the whole place was echoey, and like all your senses were just like distorted all day at school. That's how I remember it, at least. It was fucking weird. I also did a lot of drugs, but
Yeah.
but I just remember that place being just a fucking hell. And, you know, like harsh bells ringing and stuff, and you're just Pavlovian fucking response to get up and go to your next assignment. And, you know, where you're rewarded for repetition and memorization and basically disciplined for free thoughts. Yeah, it's a great way to socialize. It's awesome.
It's perfect.
This group's working on changing the high school experience right now, though. I think that in like the next 10 years, high school is going to be very different than it is now.
What group?
In which ways?
I forget. I'll have to look it up. But I just did an event for a Chicago group that's got a shit ton of money. And they're talking about how...
Was it the Gangster Disciples?
No, it was... God damn it, I can't remember it. I'll look it up and I'll let you know.
Okay.
And maybe we can like do some search or something on it. But they were talking about how high school, as we know it now, was designed to prepare kids for factory work and farm work. So it was, and then it pretty much hasn't changed since. Like the whole format of going and learning a little bit of a subject for 50 minutes and then doing that 8 times in a day with a lunch and then going back home, that was like giving them just enough common knowledge and stuff to be factory workers. And that's all that it's ever really been. So now they're talking about how to change the high school experience to make people computer experts and all,
to make it more like a trade school kind of thing, which would actually make more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude...
Like you would pick a focus earlier in life or something like that.
I still really vividly remember just being lost in the kind of arbitrary, just vacuous weirdness of fucking school, where you just go like, none of this means anything to me. Like, so I have to take these gym credits, and it's like a fucking joke. I did 60 push-ups this month, and rolled around on some scooters and played basketball, and like, what? This is a fucking joke. You know, your science and math classes, the requirements are basically common sense levels of science, and you know what I mean. It's not even like all you're required to take is up to whatever geometry or some shit, and it's all just the most basic stuff. You know, it's like then you got 2 more years of just smoking weed and fucking swearing at teachers and getting suspended and stuff. And like, I don't know, I just really vividly remember that feeling of like, this structure has nothing to offer me. It just doesn't fit in any way with reality. Like, I can't do nothing with this place. That's how I used to talk in high school.
I can't do nothing here. They really tying me up.
What the fuck is going on here?
Yeah. I couldn't. And I'm sure it still feels that way to a lot of kids, but I think most adults...
How the fuck am I supposed to learn anything?
Yeah. I think most adults, especially the ones that have been rewarded through these same avenues, just tend to forget all that stuff, you know? But then if you were just forced to do it and you never wanted any part of it and haven't used any credentials as a result of it ever for anything you've wanted to do or have done... It just feels like you got fucking robbed of a piece of your soul for fucking your entire youth.
Yeah.
Are we on a big delay again?
Ride. Yeah, you might be.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
I'm never gonna fucking use this shit.
David Box is really riffing over there.
All right, we're gonna refresh.
Are we
All right.
refreshing again?
We're going to refresh the call. Go ahead. Other things I remember about school is doing mushrooms at school. That's the main thing when I try to think about high school. All I can remember is the time that I ate mushrooms in creative writing class. And I was holding them up. I had a bag. I had like a quarter of mushrooms just in my pocket at school. And my friend was sitting across the classroom. And I was holding them up in the air every time the teacher wasn't looking and taking one out of the bag and putting it in my mouth and chewing it up. So like the whole class just saw me taking mushrooms out and eating them. I don't know how many of them knew what they were, but that is pretty much my only high school memory at this point. I don't remember much. The rest of it is just like a blur of shitty people trying to adopt different fucking, classic personas and enact different like social types and whatever, and wearing pajama pants and fucking smelling bad. That's most of just a blur of that. Feeling sad, and that one time I ate mushrooms.
Yeah, I would be fine if that was all I remembered about high school.
Would you, Andrea? Then you'd be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
that
I'm
would be fine.
Anyway.
That would be it for you. Then everything would be okay.
Yeah. I think so.
Jesus, I don't remember anything.
Andrea, where are we going with the show? You're supposed to keep things on track.
While we were all distracted with the red cup.
Yeah.
The TPP, finally all of the text of the TPP was released. It's thousands of pages long. And it is almost impossible to read. So most people don't know that it was finally released. It's been talked about, but nobody's been able to get. Let's see, the I'm sorry, excuse me. The only way that you could read it before now was if you sat alone in a basement room where note-taking was strictly forbidden.
Right.
And it wasn't even the complete text that you had access to. So now the complete text is available.
And only a couple of Congress people even
After
did that.
it's already been passed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was ratified, I think. Because they passed the fast track.
So it's a...
Whatever. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, fast track, which means that there will be no more options and Congress will only get an up or down vote on it. So either it goes through as it is or it doesn't go through at all. So the, let's see, Evan Geer of Fight for the Future has read it over and says, if U.S. Congress, despite its blatant corruption, they'll be signing a death warrant for the open internet and putting the future of free speech in peril.
My goodness gracious.
That's pretty scary.
Right. I forgot about the stuff about internet regulation in the TPP.
Yeah. So many things all lumped together.
Right.
That
Fuck.
have or no.
Yeah, we're pretty much fucked.
So I don't know if anybody is interested in
No.
reading it.
No.
I will share a link.
No thanks.
They suggest that you put together a little study group where everybody reads a little bit of it and
oh, is that what you want us to do?
Understand their side.
You want us to make TPP clubs?
Yeah, I do.
Why don't you go screw? I'm not being in your TPP club. Sounds lame as shit.
Come on.
No. Now
I need help. It's thousands of pages.
no, but here's what I will do. If anyone wants to play Galaga for money, you know where to find me.
Galaga.
Yeah, for money. I've been playing every day. I got to level 21 on 1 quarter. Do you know how fucking crazy that is?
No, you didn't. That's insane.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to take
You're
me
making
on,
that up.
use the clues and the hints that I've given you to come find me. Knock 62 times on the ceiling, and I'll come down for the match.
You can only knock once per minute.
Are we on a delay again?
We'll have to test. I get
Son of a bitch, this fucking sucks. What the fuck? All we want to do is get ahead in life and try to fucking do something and produce something, and nothing can ever just work. There always has to be some shit. We're just fucking fated for failure. It's written in the stars. The stupid, shitty stars.
Maybe we can take a break and we'll restart our computer, and maybe that'll help it.
Whatever, Andrew.
Yeah, why don't you relax?
Because I'm a manic depressive.
Calm the down.
I have mental
Pissing
issues.
everyone off.
You're scaring us.
Quit acting like a fucking retard.
All right, well, I guess that made me
I'm
feel a
really
little bit better. What did he say?
I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings.
I'm trying to
I
pull
think
up.
you're a really nice.
I'm trying to pull up the stupid break music, and it's not responding. I would love to take
Well,
a quick break and re fucking do this connection though. I don't know why this is always happening. This is bullshit.
no, this never happened before.
This is really
That did.
inconvenience.
A delay like this?
Stop bleeping words that
Not
aren't
over and
swears.
over.
You're using that improperly.
What? Hey.
You didn't even bleep very much of that word at all. We all knew exactly what it was. I don't know what you're
All
trying
right, well,
to do
in
here.
the meantime,
I don't know.
What?
you're distracted from by the red cup was say has officially halted bulk action.
Officially
Which sounds
halted
cool, but
what?
it's like
The fuck did you just say?
bulk metadata.
Uh-huh.
Alright.
Are you totally cut out? What the fuck is wrong with you? Dude, this is the worst show we've ever done.
What's wrong with me?
This is the worst show we've ever done.
Yeah. Alright, well, our call.
All right, we're taking a break. We'll be back.
Fuck therapy, my clarity. It's not a love song.
Hello.
Maybe one day.
Hello.
Hi.
We're back.
Look at where we are.
Darcy's going to be on the show soon. She had to
Oh,
take
good.
a shower.
Oh, what? Like she thinks she's so great.
Oh, she came home covered in cum. And I was like, Darcy, what is this? And she's like, no, nothing happened. Don't worry. It was just an accident. But, I was trying to explain to her in the break, that is the kind of thing that can make a guy suspicious.
Yeah, but I mean, well, what did she say though?
I haven't gotten the story yet because, I didn't want to seem like jealous or anything. And
Yeah.
What kind of cum was it?
it was what am I supposed to say to that? What kind of cum was it? Human. It was
Male.
How do you know it was human?
well, because I got up close and took a whiff.
Ah, that classic human cum smell.
Right. Animal cum is so gamey.
Yeah. It's rancid, depending on the animal.
Oh, now she's going to smoke. And we all know that's...
Another pole, probably.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I gotcha. And we all know that's what women do after sex.
Smoke
Why
a
are you
pole.
looking at me? Get away from me. You'll want to listen to that, Darcy. Yeah, probably. She'll probably get mad about this, too.
Oh, well. Do you think perhaps it was a cum volcano gone awry?
I knew you would say that. But I would like her to probably see a doctor later on in the show. Just so you're aware. Just so we can get her checked out and make sure nothing's happened.
Yeah.
A vagina doctor?
Andrew, what else do we have? Come on, man. What else we got? Let's get this back on track.
Mysterious illness has been sweeping through students in the UK where they mysteriously faint, and nobody knows why. Just en masse.
What do you think is going on? As many as 40 children at Outwood Academy in Ripon, North Yorkshire, were treated by emergency services after a number of children started fainting during the ceremony, although what brought about the phenomenon remains unclear. I don't know. What was the ceremony?
Best fainter.
It was a fainting contest. The media is just blowing this way out of proportion.
Shoot. No, it was a Remembrance Day celebration.
For what? Remembering what?
So that's like their Veterans Day.
Oh, okay.
It's like their Veterans Day.
Well, they were overtaken.
Do you think they were fainting from boredom?
It was probably more like when people go to those evangelical, like big events and they get healed and faint and stuff. They just got swept up in a supernatural level of patriotic fervor. And the Lord swept their feet out from under them.
Yeah,
could have
that's
been
the
it.
only thing that really makes sense.
Only one student
they had
was
a team
injured.
come in and test for...
Oh, yeah, we're on a delay again. This is great. We can't do this. This is fucking bullshit. Call back. Call back, you fucking jerks. One student was injured, treated for a bumped head at a local medical center. Most puzzling is why the mass illness happened in the first place after an assessment of the hall in which the faintings occurred revealed nothing out of the ordinary. Okay, you guys back?
Yeah, we're here.
Wait,
Hey.
has my video been on the whole time?
No, it just came on right now.
That could be slowing us down. But anyways, what do you got on this, Andrea?
A team came out and tried to test for any hazardous material that might be in the air, gases, and it came back with absolutely nothing.
Oh.
So they think that maybe the students overheated, and then it caused effect, like what happens with goats when they get too excited and they pass out.
Okay. Oh, are you guys gone, dude? This we got to do something about this connection. This is fucking bullshit.
Yeah, this is really fucking stupid.
And I think we're on.
Skype is betraying us.
I think we're on a delay again. Let's do the test. 1, 2,
Okay.
3, kablooey.
A bluey.
Yeah, we're definitely on a delay.
This is bullshit.
Do we have anything else pressing?
No.
We lost most of our viewers already, so I don't know what we want to do. Because Darcy was about to join us too and get into the whole Afghanistan heroin dealie. So I guess once there's another person in the room here with me, then we'll probably be all right.
Okay.
Are you cutting off like my last word to try to get as close together as possible?
Yes. Is it working?
It's a little better, yeah. So all these kids fucking fainted. I don't know. What else we got?
That is a great question. Oh, we also have, we never finished talking about the bulk metadata collection by the NSA has officially been halted.
Yeah, what is that about? Because they were doing it unofficially for a long time.
Right, which as you pointed out before, that means that this really kind of doesn't make a very big difference.
Right.
But a Washington, D.C. District Court judge, quote unquote, nailed the coffin shut on the NSA's bulk data collection. So he put forth an official order to cease and desist all data collection without consent. So I guess technically it's illegal now.
Wasn't it always illegal? I don't get it.
Yeah, but not under the Patriot Act.
Right,
because
okay.
they were fighting terrorism, so they could do whatever they want.
So this then amends the Patriot Act?
Well, kind of. The judge just basically said that what they're doing doesn't fight terrorism. And they've proved over the past however many years that nothing that they have done has done anything to help fight or combat terrorism or bring in any information regarding terrorism. So the judge was basically like, you're not fighting terrorism. You don't get to do this anymore because that's not covered by the Patriot Act.
You guys are full of shit.
You're full of shit. Well, and this comes right on the heels of Edward Snowden being granted asylum in Europe and being found, being told that they won't bring charges against him. In Europe.
Right. By the UN, who just decided. I personally think he should be hanged for treason.
By his toenails.
Yeah. David Box, give me some sound effects. Come on, man. What's going on with you? Falling asleep?
Yeah, dude.
Classic. It's about that time of night.
Why would anyone...
For old David Box.
I would not blame anyone for not listening to this anymore. Where did we get... Why were we getting all those viewers the whole episode?
Because of stuff like this.
No, Andrea, what do you think is going on? We've had way more people checking us out the past few episodes.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Also, when Darcy and I did the girl show, we had like 16 viewers.
You shouldn't say the numbers because it sounds so pathetic.
Oh.
See?
We had like 16 viewers.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
It was an unusual amount.
Right. Especially for a couple of dumb broads. That guy that called in was pretty cool, though.
Nah, I think he was kind of a jerk.
He sounded really smart to me. I don't know. And funny.
He sounded like a real uggo.
Do you think so?
Yeah, it doesn't matter how smart and funny he was. He sounded like an uggo.
Are you coming over here?
No, man.
Shut up, David Box.
We're in a non-location.
Wait, David Box, did you know that Andrea and Darcy did a girl show together?
I think I heard something about that. I didn't hear any of the show, though.
We might.
You were asleep next to me.
Was I asleep?
We might have to listen to some clips on this show. We might have to soon.
Is it funny?
Yeah, it was a great show.
Yeah, it felt really good while we were doing it.
Andrea, do you want... You can't just grab the headphone thing like that because you just yanked my headphones out.
Oh,
Andrea,
darn.
do you want me to put that on YouTube? That's what I keep trying to say.
Yes.
I guess I will.
Is it funny?
No, not really. All
Then
right.
definitely put it on YouTube.
Darcy's here.
Hold on.
Hi, Darcy.
Hold on, what? You have to stop moving this thing around. What do you mean,
Darcy,
hold on? What the fuck are you doing? Dude, this sucks. I'm plugging in my
Really wanna
computer
talk-
that you keep unplugging. Shut up.
It's your fault it's like this.
Well, I know, and the main thing is that we have to be nasty to each other. We can never just...
Well, yeah. That's how it works. That's all I know.
Stop being in a bad mood. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Welcome to the show.
She's sitting down, like, sighing.
I'm tired.
So what? There's
My
always
dog
something
is-
wrong with everyone. Only certain people export that onto other people all the time and make it known. I'm not totally comfortable.
Okay.
Nothing's wrong with me.
Oh, that's nice to hear. I'm glad to hear that.
Me too.
Andrew, you feel good?
Yeah, I feel real good. Thanks for asking.
David Box?
Yeah, I feel good. I'm sleepy.
Yeah, see, David Box is sleepy, but he's nice. He's not scowling, is he, Andrea?
I'm
He's asleep with his headphones on and the mic like leaned up against his face.
yeah.
That
And I have a
kind of
cozy
nice.
And the kitten is laying right
I'm
next to him.
spooning with
So
a little baby.
Oh, shut
see how
up. Shut the fuck up. Darcy, what did you find out about the heroin trade? We went into it a little bit earlier, but you took a bunch of notes, right?
Yeah, I took some notes. I found out that previously to 2011, Afghanistan.
Just previous.
All right, so in
before
1999, Afghanistan was producing 3,276 tons of opium. And in the next year, it decreased to 185 tons under the Taliban's rule. And then we came in and put in, our president that we put there and all that. And it went all the way up to 7,400 tons. So basically what I found out is that Afghanistan is making more opium because we invaded their country.
How much was the increase again?
It went up 35 times.
Jesus fucking Christ. And
From 185 to 7,400.
so if you're looking for motives to be in the Middle East, that's billions of dollars, right?
Yes.
easily
Billions.
trillions.
Well, it says that the annual Taliban earnings from opium is $100 to $700 million, which is a large difference, but I guess that's over like past 10 years. So
That's
How come-
shocking.
How come people don't talk about that more?
Yeah.
because basically a lot of what's happening is we've spent $107 billion in reconstruction for Afghanistan, trying to, improve their roadways and their irrigation systems to make that a better country. But what's actually happening is they're using all of these tools to make better opium and more of
Right.
it.
And it's working.
There's been
Yes, it's working.
there's been like a ton of soldiers that have said like, yeah, we just guarded poppy fields all the time and shit. I didn't know what we were doing. This shit's been going on for years of just people sort of slowly starting to leak stuff out about it. But like, yeah, that is a big part of why we're over there.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
But the weird thing is that according to the DEA, only 4% of our heroin is from there, which seems
Right, yeah.
wrong. Like I can't imagine that's like if they're producing 90% of the world's opium and we're only getting 4% of their heroin. It just
Russia.
seems. Yeah, no, Russia is pretty much taking the most of it.
Yeah.
They're fucked up.
We're getting our heroin from Mexico.
But I also saw that Mexico was getting their opium from Afghanistan.
That's what I was just gonna say. Is so if the stats say that we're getting it from Mexico, does that not does that mean that we're not necessarily getting it still indirectly from Afghanistan? Because according to a lot of the Mexican guys I've known, like a lot of Middle Eastern immigrants go through Mexico to get into the United States.
Well, that would make sense, but
I don't know why
the
that
DEA
makes sense,
is
but-
using they're not just taking stats from people. They're using like chemical. They're finding the origin through. I don't know how to phrase it, but they chemically tested the opium to find out where it was from, and they said that only 4% is from Afghanistan
Oh, okay.
or the Middle East in
Yeah,
general.
I'm sure that's a totally
yeah.
reliable survey they did.
I also saw that the president,
Of course, they're gonna say
Hamid
that.
Karzai, his brother is a big opium dealer, and he's on the CIA payroll, apparently.
As what, a consultant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I think that just says it all right there.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it really is, dude. I don't hear enough people reference that as like a main reason that we're over there, you know.
Yeah.
And especially that in a product with a product that's just all profit and is completely unregulated. Just, you know, we can behind the scenes make billions to do our bidding, you know, in other forms. But like we can fucking it's just completely unchecked billions of dollars, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just put it on planes and fly it wherever we want, completely unmitigated, because we're above that.
But it happens from time to time that military planes get busted with drugs and stuff. So like there's other agencies in the government that aren't in on it and go like,
Hey,
what the fuck? We've been tracking you guys for a while. These two soldiers have been dealing a lot of drugs.
You need to fire them.
Yeah. These are a couple of bad eggs dealing that cocaine. What are you doing? But that happens all the time, and yeah, they always act like it's some isolated thing. One plane
yeah.
was stopped coming back from Colombia full of cocaine. Yeah, that happened once. Well, good thing we got those guys.
We got 100 pounds of it off the streets.
Yep.
Mission accomplished.
Your kids are 100 pounds safer from cocaine.
Yeah. Okay, but wait, now there's been an issue getting heroin, at least around here, and people are using crocodile now. Do you know about crocodile?
Are they actually doing it in the United States now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was big in like
Russia,
2 years ago.
It was. I just watched that whole thing about Russia. That's where this started from.
Oh. Yeah, they were doing it in Joliet, which is a Chicago suburb.
Dude, this is the fucking grossest
like 2 years
thing
ago,
you
there
can-
was a big surge of it.
Is that the shit that gives people like giant fucking open sores and stuff?
It's
and, like,
worse than that.
Yeah.
You lose entire limbs.
And you
Yeah.
just, like,
It
you're-
looks like they have leprosy.
What is it? What is it?
It's got gasoline in it.
Well, it's was originally a stronger form of morphine. It was more concentrated and quicker working. So they started using it in like the 30s, and it kind of fell out. But it reemerged as like a street drug, which
so-
is made from codeine.
It wasn't originally used as a drug.
Well, it was used as a painkiller. It was used as a morphine substitute.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck, I never heard that.
And basically, you can, in Russia at least, you can go to a grocery store or a pharmacy and get codeine and gasoline and all these other horrible things that you would never want to put in your body and cook it up. And it basically just eats you up away from the inside.
Fucking
Jesus Christ. If you Google this.
Oh, no, it's horrifying.
I've done it before. I've seen the pictures
No,
of
and
like
now-
people that do it, yeah.
Apparently, they've found out that injecting eye drops after you inject crocodile or whatever it is, it enhances the effect. So people are shooting up eye drops now too.
Where are these
also,
people?
well, this was all in Russia, where everything is awful all the time, and you need drugs to just get through the day.
Russia's such a weird, mysterious place to me. I don't understand what's going on there. Like, and I think from most people from like an American perspective, it's just such a dark, strange, fucking mysterious place.
Well, it's just fucking huge.
But like
There's so
you
many,
see
like-
you see like the architecture, and it doesn't look European and it doesn't look Asian. It's like some weird in betweeny thing of like that fucking Japanese vampires would build or something. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
like it's just a weird place, and I would love to know more about the history so I can understand it not more, because now it just creeps me out.
Well, they've basically just been completely fucked over like for generations.
Yeah.
And this point, it's just a derelict country. Like there's a few main cities and stuff, but it's so large that there are many areas that are just completely invisible, pretty much.
Yeah, I get that sense from just like watching videos online and stuff, and it seems so much more lawless in a lot of areas there.
Did you see that family that they found in like the 70s that had been living in the Siberian whatever?
Yeah, for like 4 generations or something.
Yeah, it was only one generation, but it was like 40 years.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, they
I had it in my head. I had built it up
religious
like
persecution and just went off into like the fucking wilderness and lived there in the middle of just snow, pretty much.
Completely missed World War II.
Oh yeah, completely missed
right.
it. They had no idea that happened. And then people started showing up, and they all got sick, surprisingly. And now there's like one lady just living out in the middle of nowhere by herself.
Like, I knew it. I knew we should have just fucking ignored the rest of you. They knew of people. Like, they knew there was a society somewhere. Because,
well, yeah, they were like, the dad took the children away to flee religious persecution, as I said. So, I mean, they had been in society previously.
yeah, but I think they had just seen, like, a couple people ride through on horses, and, like, a couple things like that throughout their life. So they knew there were other people out there. But, they didn't, had never, like, interacted with anyone.
No. And, I mean...
Could that even happen in the United States? There's
No.
probably... Dude, I don't know. Yeah, I think the Pacific Northwest is even somewhat unexplored in certain areas, isn't it?
I don't know. Is it?
Yeah, and the Southwest is pretty vast, although difficult to survive in. But there actually was I read 2 stories when I was reading about that one family. I read 2 stories that took place on the West Coast. One of which was
Of China.
Of China, yeah. One of which was a
Get it? Because
Yeah.
young man who ran away into the woods when he was like 16 and lived there for 6 or 7 years, and then just was like, okay, I'm done, and came back out, and everyone was like, what the fuck, we thought you were dead. And the other one was about a guy who used to break into vacation homes that he knew to be empty and steal his essential supplies so that he could live in the woods nearby.
Yeah, I heard about that guy.
Like a decade. Yeah.
And
That
then
guy
they
was dope.
they arrested him, and he was all freaking out because he didn't want to be around people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he never like, he would just like take a box of granola bars. Every 6 months he would steal a pair of shoes.
Yeah,
he
he
wasn't
just
like
didn't-
into robbing people.
He just didn't like being around people, and he lived in the woods.
Yeah.
No, he almost
Well, I
died. Like
identify with
almost
that.
every winter, he almost died. Pretty much.
Yeah. For like 10 years.
it was like that book Hatchet.
Hatchet.
Oh,
I did
yeah,
not.
I remember that
I didn't
one.
read that one.
That guy was always getting himself into sticky situations. Oh, I'm lost in the woods in the middle of winter again? Fuck.
How do I start a fire?
I swore I would never let this happen again. But then my
Why
publisher
me?
called.
Russia also, not to mention, in addition to what you said before, Russia is really, really diverse in a way that a lot of people don't realize because their news is so filtered and so propagandized and so selective.
Mm-hmm.
I work with a person who was raised in Russia, and talks about it very differently than any picture I've ever been given it by a mainstream media source. And she talks about like Chechnya. She's like, Putin won't even go near Chechnya. It's Muslim controlled. They might as well be their own country. It's got nothing to do with the rest of the country.
Yeah,
and, like,
they're weird there. They have that whole thing in that area of the country or the world that we can't understand because, like, Russians, they look like Europeans, but they're not. And they're like they have the whole religious intensity thing going on that we can't even really relate to in the United States. Like, we've got our shit here and our religious fundamentalists and weirdos, but they're generally considered weirdos by most people. And
Right.
Russia is one of those places that, like, they deal with that shit too. It's just a different fucking society. Like, Caucasians, but they're not like most of the other Caucasians.
I referred to her as Asian one time, meaning that she was from the continent of Asia, which Russia is in the continent of Asia, and she got super offended. And I was like, no, I just mean like you're literally from like Russia's in Asia, and she's like, I'm not Asian. I was like, well, then what are you? Like, why can't you be Asian?
No, I can see that. I could see being offended by that.
I didn't call
Not
her
offended,
Oriental.
but Oriental.
It's different.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't like to be called Orientals anymore.
No, what do they prefer now?
You know what? I just found out. I always said zipper head, and it's actually zipper lid.
Oh.
Yeah, I had that wrong. Just a little
That was one
correction
of
from
your
previous shows.
favorites.
Yeah, that was my favorite racial slur.
I like zipper lid better, actually.
Yeah, it's way cooler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't call nobody a zipper lid. I just joke around once in a while.
I just call them zipper heads. They get it.
No, and another thing about Russia that I've noticed is most of the time when I see things about feral kids, it's in Russia.
Yeah, hell yeah.
They got a lot of
That's like-
feral
yeah.
kids being raised by dogs over there.
A bunch of stray dogs to raise all
Yeah,
their
there's
kids.
just all these abandoned buildings everywhere, and they throw
Yeah, no,
kids
totally.
in there.
And they once in a while they'll find a kid that was raised by like bears or wolves or Muslims. It's fucking nuts there.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
No.
Just kidding, everybody. I kid the Muslims.
Oh, like with Bob and David we watched the other night where they couldn't say a picture of Muhammad.
Yeah, do you know that
Wait, they couldn't what?
They couldn't say the phrase "a picture of Muhammad."
the new Bob and David show is out?
I haven't seen it yet.
It's on
Yes.
I did not
Netflix.
see that.
It's
I
on
will be up
Netflix.
all night watching it now.
Dude, it's pretty hilarious.
It's pretty good.
Well,
They're so
obviously.
old. It's weird.
Yeah, it is weird that they're old.
Like I knew they would be older, but like,
Because
well, even in relation to the rest of the cast, they're old.
they were all around. They were probably a little bit older than us when they were doing Mr. Show.
Really?
Yeah, they were probably in their mid-30s.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Shit.
Did they get any of their Mr. Show buddies to come back for
All
this,
of them.
or just them? All of them?
All of them.
What?
Yeah.
This is
Dude, everybody was in
really
it.
something.
Yeah.
Was the Taint Kid there?
Scott Aukerman.
Oh, whoa, Vinny. You got that on lockdown.
Um,
I don't remember seeing him, but I may just not remember that.
he's not very memorable.
I remembered him as the Taint Kid.
And his podcast is worse than ours.
Oh, he's got a podcast?
Yeah,
What
comedy.
does he talk about?
Comedy Bang Bang, I think. It's just like improv stuff. And
Comedy Bang Bang is a TV show that I saw.
Isn't that what it's called, Andrea?
And he's not the one that
Maybe
I'm
that's not what it
thinking
is
of.
called. What,
Comedy Bang Bang's a TV show.
all right, fuck you. What, Andrea? What's Scott
No,
Aukerman's
that's it.
show?
Comedy Bang Bang podcast.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
see?
All right. Well,
Comedy
it's
Bang
also
Bang podcast.
Stupid.
it's also a TV show.
Idiot.
God, I'm not an idiot. I just know more than you.
Yeah, it is. That's he's in charge of it.
Okay.
That's his project.
Okay. I don't like that show.
Yeah.
No, it sucks, and his
Oh,
podcast
okay.
kind of sucks too. And that's what I was getting to. It's just like there's parts of it that are funny. There's one episode that I actually really liked, where a guy was, he was, I think his name was Bill Cosby Bukowski, and it was this kind of like fat white guy who was really drunk, and just talked in like a vague Southern accent and said hilarious stuff. And for some reason, his name was Bill Cosby Bukowski, and that was pretty good to watch.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah,
I'd watch that once.
we can look up a clip of that later. But what the fuck were you talking about, Andrea?
You guys were talking about with Bob and David.
Oh,
I don't know where I was before that.
I felt like I interrupted you.
But-
Well, I don't know, dude. It was good. It was decent. I don't know. It wasn't Mr. Show.
Well, that's the problem, is that it's never going to be Mr. Show. So
But it
doesn't
shouldn't
really
be.
have that.
How are they going to do that 20 years later?
I know, but they did do at the very first show. There was a guy like in a doctor's office, and the doctor was kind of yelling at him for not taking care of himself, and she said, "This isn't a show, Mister," and it was real, and like that was.
Yeah, it was silly.
Yeah,
it was funny.
They were trying to do a thing, you know.
And what's his name? Who's like really fucking huge and successful now? Was still there. God damn it! The guy that does SpongeBob's voice.
Didn't you see him once, Andrea?
Huh?
Tom Kenny. Yeah, I met him at Giordano's.
He's
I used
all
to work
over
with
the
his
place. Dude, that guy's got to be
Yeah, I met
massively
his-
rich by now.
Yeah, he's also the Ice King on Adventure Time, which is another huge cartoon right now.
Yeah, dude, I've just seen his name on tons of shit.
Was he nice?
He's hilarious, and he was really nice. And his wife was on Mr. Show, and she was with him too. And I was like, oh my god, I'm such a Mr. Show fan. And they were like, oh my god, you know what Mr. Show is?
That's funny. You know, in the first episode,
he literally said to his wife, "Hey, honey, we have a Mr. Show fan."
He's not even afraid to yell it in a restaurant because it's so unpopular. Like,
yeah.
In the first episode, she was there with like a bunch of the other cast members, and I was like, "Uh-oh, where's her husband?" And I thought maybe something had happened, but then he showed up like 5 minutes later, and I was like, "All right."
Yeah, dude, they did some great shit.
It was pretty good.
Great
I can't wait
sketches.
to watch it.
Yeah, we're on what, like episode 4, maybe?
Whatever. I watched them all after you fell asleep.
You son of a fucking bitch.
Fuck you. I
No.
don't give a
Okay,
shit.
so I went to bed, and he promised he wouldn't watch it without me, and I heard Bob and David talking, and I came out.
I told her I was just watching a behind-the-scenes documentary.
And it was. I looked at the screen. It was a behind-the-scenes documentary, and I was like, okay, all right.
No.
I'll go to bed.
It wasn't. That was part of the series.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You
It just came up in the playlist.
I'm gonna eat all
That
the
was
leftovers
really
tonight.
lucky.
That's what's gonna happen now.
Yeah, you just came up for the brief period that I was watching that, but that was
That
part of
worked
their
out for your lie.
Yeah, that was part of their Netflix thing. I'm like, that's all I'm watching. It's just a fucking documentary.
God
The
damn it.
planet's aligned to allow you to watch it without Darcy.
But they had they had some hilarious shit, like a no nonsense judge, TV judge, and at the beginning they go like, all right, you know, our normal whoever no nonsense is now going to be replaced by somebody some nonsense.
Sandy some nonsense whistleblower.
Whistleton. No, Whistleton. It was Sandy some nonsense Whistleton. And David Cross goes up and is a some nonsense judge, and it was really hilarious.
It's pretty good.
And then there was the
He
all
basically
nonsense
just
judge that came
wouldn't
later.
listen to anything that the one guy was saying, and went with the guy that was making everything up, pretty much.
Yeah, it was about half nonsense, just like they said.
Half nonsense. But then they brought
Don't
in
give it
the
all away.
all nonsense judge, which was wacky. Just
All right.
wacky.
Are we doing this justice or what?
I don't know. I mean, people can watch it for themselves.
Did David Box fall asleep?
Oh yeah.
Sounds
He's
like
done?
it. Can you poke
David
him with a
Box,
stick?
are you awake?
Can
No,
you put a
he
s-
and the dog and the cat are all asleep on the couch next to me.
Can you go? Can you go reach in between the couch cushions and get a big handful of cat hair and shove it in his mouth while he's sleeping?
No. Oh, and now the other cat is coming over. It's going to be everybody on one piece of furniture. This is bad.
What about
Smash him in the
brains?
face with a baseball bat.
You should go get brains so he doesn't feel left out.
He's walking around on his sticks.
Ugh,
He's a snake.
that made me feel gross.
You started it.
I didn't say anything about him walking around on sticks. I said you should bring him over. That
All right. Well, we really lost steam after the
yeah.
after the fucking Paris discussion. We just didn't research anything else
Well, that's not entirely true.
or have any other ideas. There were funny parts, right?
Yeah.
You think it was okay?
You were funny.
Yeah, I'm hilarious.
You're always hilarious.
There were some things that didn't work too. There were some times. that
Yeah, the
wasn't
delay
very funny.
was very frustrating tonight.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to find a better solution for this.
This was a very like up and down show.
Yeah, that's okay.
But
It's a roller coaster.
do yourself a favor and go check out the video poking fun at Wait, Don't Tell Me that we put up. And we're going to be doing more shit like that. But
Yeah, that was buckets of
Oh, hey.
holy shit, David Box is back.
He just woke up just to make a comment about semen. Anything else, David Box?
Oh no, just the semen thing.
Okay.
All right. Well, it's been lovely. We'll see you all Thursday.
Bye, guys.
Till then,
Bye-bye.
take care of yourself and each other. You know,
Ugh.
like Jerry Springer.